So, do you know anything about the Regent Theater in Arlington where you're playing on August 23rd?
No, it'll be my first time. I've never been there.
So, this is an amazing room. There were two movie theaters in Arlington, and which is a town on the Mystic Lakes, and the theaters, the Capitol and the Regent, were just movie theaters. But I went to school like just one block down from the Regent. And one day in the 60s, you never saw a rock band there. There was a sign for Little Anthony and the Imperials at the Regent. So, that was like 60 years ago, and you're going to play this venerable hall, which has had a lot of. Art Garfunkel sold out two shows there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a really nice room. And Murray Lerner, the Jimi Hendrix, I think he did Isle of Wight. And so Murray Lerner was there and giving a lecture, and it was just really wonderful. So it is a 450 seat hall, but you're going to love how intimate it is. And it's just a really beautiful room.
Oh, good. Yeah. We've been playing the last couple times, either City Winery or Natick, and it just seemed like it would be good to try something different.
Yeah, Tecan is wonderful in Natick. Oh, that's nice. I didn't realize you were out there.
Yeah, we've played there like, oh, probably 5 or 6 times. Yeah.
Are you working on a new album?
Not really. No.
What's do you these days? Do you write songs still though?
A little bit. I mean, I think that the music business has changed so much that it's kind of discouraging to try to make a record for me because first of all, we have to finance them ourselves because there aren't any record companies anymore that really give you any money. And then the problem is that records don't make any money because everybody streams everything. So you end up having to put out your own money and you don't get it back. So it's to really record a nice record in a recording studio and pay somebody for that kind of studio time and hire musicians to come in and all that kind of stuff. It's very expensive. And so, and it's discouraging when people just stream things and don't buy them. So for me, it's really, I don't know, it's kind of a difficult thing to make a record anymore, unfortunately, because the business has changed.
And I've noticed even Elton John and Mick Jagger are putting some of the rare cuts up on YouTube for free. It's almost like they're using YouTube like an old radio station.
Yeah, or it's just all promotional pretty much. CDs are just sort of for promotion, really. It's kind of all they are. Uh,
Interesting.
Live music is really the only place anybody can make any money, unless you're Beyonce or Taylor Swift. But for the rest of us, it's very much changed. I'm lucky that I sold records back in the day when people had to actually buy them.
And that was fun too. It was always fun looking at your album covers and the liner notes and things like that. The CDs, I can't read the small print anymore. It's just kind of boring.
Right, and you tend to kind of lose, you put the CD in your car and then you lose the cover and it just isn't the same as having an album you look at.
So this tour, you were touring with Liv. Is this a solo tour?
This is just solo. I'm touring with Nina Gerber, who I've been playing with for 20 years. She's an incredible guitar player, and so she and I have been working together for a long time. And so it'll be just the two of us for this little run, which is just kind of a Massachusetts
Oh,
run.
where else are you playing here?
We're playing in Falmouth at a university there. And we're playing, let me see, what is the other one? Oh, we're playing in Rhode Island, in Portsmouth, or New Hampshire, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Portsmouth, New Hampshire is not too far from. It's about an hour away, right on the Maine border.
Yeah, yeah, the 24th, Jimmy's Jazz and Blues Club, Portsmouth, New
Oh wow,
Hampshire.
that's lovely up there, especially this time of year.
And then the Falmouth Academy in Falmouth,
Ah,
Mass.
very nice. But just three in
Yeah,
Massachusetts right now.
yeah, that'll be kind of that's how we tour these days. We fly out. like from the West Coast on a Wednesday or Thursday, and then play on a weekend, and then fly back.
Interesting. So
We drive between those three, and yeah, it's nice.
the albums that you have put out, like the best of, people must still be going back to them. And do you get feedback and letters in the mail or email on your old work?
I get a lot of comments on YouTube because we put things up on YouTube. Like if we get some live footage from shows, we put those things up and people comment a lot there on YouTube. I think people see a lot of stuff on
That's
YouTube.
great. John Pousset Dart has on his website, he will put surprise videos up too. And I think for the people that follow you, it's really important to keep that, here's today, here's yesterday, and some of the nuggets, and people really enjoy that.
Right. No, the whole social media thing is a job in itself. You almost need help to have somebody help you do that.
Now, here's something interesting, and I'll tell John H. Garabedian that I talked to today. John H. bought this very important radio station here, WJIB. It's the memory station, but he's brought it really up to speed where your music is acceptable on it. And I can call in and I could say, I want to hear Karla Bonoff, and I could say one of your songs, and she's playing the Regent in Arlington, and he will air that. He's just a really amazing guy.
Wow, that's unusual.
It's almost like an FM station, and he's on AM and FM. I was on the air there in 2000. Bob Bidner owned it, and he let me interview Lou Reed and the fellow who wrote the Christmas box, and so he let me do my interviews. Bob was just the greatest guy, and then he just passed on. And luckily for the world, John H. bought the station. So a little background on John H. Garabedian, he discovered the song Maggie May for Rod Stewart. Mercury wanted Reason to Believe, and John flipped it over and said, no, you have to play Maggie May. He kept airing it, and it caught on. And he was playing it the other day, and I laughed because I was a teenager, but I remember he was so groundbreaking at 1510, and now he bought this station where Karla Bonoff can be played and Linda can be played, and a lot of hit records. But I even heard him play, which was Led Zeppelin the other day. One of the softer tunes, but it was still, wow, he's playing 1940s music and Led Zeppelin. That's really eclectic.
Oh, that's really cool. I wish there was more of that because everything's so programmed. You hear the same 20 songs. It's really difficult. We have like a classic rock station where I live and then an adult contemporary station, and it's so boring. It's the same 20 songs on both.
Well, they do it, and I know why they do it, and I don't like it. They're just looking for the drive time listeners to up the advertising. So what would you like to hear on WJIB? And I will request it. What of your songs? Which one?
Oh, my songs. Oh, goodness. God, I don't know. What do you think? I'll let you choose. I don't know.
Well, I know you didn't write personally. I love that song, but I love all your music. I have multiple copies of your albums. So I really appreciate your work. All right, I'll come up with a song.
Okay.
I haven't decided yet, but it's kind of cool because you can say, hey, I just talked to Karla Bonoff on Zoom, and she's coming to Arlington on 8/23, so you can advertise the show. And he's just very good about that. He has anyone from the audience calling in.
That's so great. So how come he's able to do that?
He's a multimillionaire.
Oh, so he can just do what he wants.
He, do you remember a guy from MCA Records, Stephen Leeds, was an A&R man?
Yeah,
MCA.
I remember his name, yeah.
And Stephen had U68 in New York, and John H. had, along with Arnie Woo Woo Ginsburg, V66 in Boston. They were video channels. And they sold to the Home Shopping Network. And I think John said, I bought a second airstrip in my backyard with the sale of V66. But what Bob Bidner did with this station was he had no commercials, and he was very honest. He had the audience send in donations. And once he reached the money that was needed to run the station, he wouldn't take any more. He just had the audience fund the station. And there's a woman by the name of Harriet Schock, songwriter.
Yeah, sure.
Harriet's a dear friend of mine. And so Nick Venet, who was, Harriet was dating Nick Venet, and I was on the phone with Nick Venet. He's such a great guy. Well, he passed on. But he produced an album for Harriet, and Bob Bidner started airing it. And that was the amazing thing about the station, Karla. They will play good music.
Well, and they can break an artist by doing that, where they might not have another opportunity too.
Especially. What do you have planned for the Regent? Can we talk, or do you want to keep it a surprise?
Oh, well, my touring show when I'm solo is just a variety of, stuff from all of my albums and a couple new things. And, it's a pretty unplugged style show. So probably a lot of the people who will come there will be people who see us every year. So they kind of know what to expect.
When you say unplugged, will the guitar be folk guitar or?
Well, I play acoustic guitar. I just mean we don't have drums and bass and other stuff. So it's kind of an acoustic style show.
Will you be playing piano?
Yes, piano as well.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah, because the City Winery, that was just so nice. And Liv kept walking by us, so I grabbed him finally at the fourth time, and I said, "I'm the guy who interviewed you." He's so polite.
Was that the Christmas show, the City Winery show?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. It's all a blur right now. Yes. Yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that last year.
Now, you were in a legendary band that started off with, let me see, my mind went blank, but it's
Andrew
Wendy,
Gold, Kenny
Wendy in
Edwards,
it.
Wendy Waldman, yes. Brindle.
Yep. Brindle. How did that come about, and how did that deal happen for Brindle?
I think I'm trying to think how I met Kenny Edwards way back in 1968 at a transcendental meditation course in Squaw Valley, California. And he had known Wendy and Andrew. I think he met them at the Ash Grove, or they were both at school together at Oakwood School in the San Fernando Valley. So we all just kind of met each other around the same time, and Wendy just suggested that we put a band together. Kenny had just come out of the Stone Ponies with Linda Ronstadt, and so Linda was starting solo, and so that's how it started. And we got a deal with A&M Records 1970 and made a record for them, but they didn't ever release it.
Wow. Who was there was a demo for that, right? For the A&M.
It was an actual album, but they never released it. It was produced by Chuck Plotkin and Chad Stewart of Chad and Jeremy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very nice. And I think Nick Venet might have done the Stone Ponies, produced them.
Of course, he certainly did. Yes, I met Nick back in the day with Kenny.
Wasn't he great?
Yeah.
He was just so nice. He'd call up on the phone and we'd talk for hours, and I would say, "Nick, I love that production on Neil Young's song, Lot of Love with Nicolette Lawson." And he said, "Joe, I'm looking at Nicolette's house right now." She was talking to me on the phone. That was so cute. But I wanted to talk production with the man. And so
Chad, it was way back, really way back to early. Trying to think what he did before the Stone Ponies, some other kind of famous stuff, maybe. I'm not sure. Kenny told me, but no, I've forgotten.
Andre Previn, Dory Previn, Frank Sinatra, I believe.
Right, stuff like that. The old Capitol, Studio A, Hollywood.
And he was involved with the Jimi Hendrix, I think, Band of Gypsies, just being at Capitol.
Right.
I think he handled. So Valerie, his ex-wife, and we're friends now. and she's friends with Harriet Schock. So I talked to her for hours, and yeah, she has all these tapes of Nick's reel to reels of that magical time. I think
Wow.
she has a Sinatra tape too. I mean, it's just there's tapes everywhere. Do a lot of the people who follow you tape your shows?
They're supposed to put their cell phones away, but I see people, doing this a lot and filming and pieces of things, but as long as they're just kind of keeping them for themselves, it's okay. It kind of bugs me when they throw them up on YouTube and they're really bad quality and stuff, but it's hard to prevent that.
I know from the back of the hall, especially.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, technically you can take them down, but it gets to be a full-time job, so I don't bother. But people do that less now. I think they know that there's actual really good quality stuff up there, so they don't have to throw a bad cell phone video on there.
when you did the personally video, do you remember the director and how that all came about?
I remember doing it. I don't remember who the director was. But I mean, when I look at it, I remember doing it. We had fun doing that. It was kind of a live band situation. Andrew Gold was there and another guitar player, Ira Ingber, and Michael Botts, I think, on drums. Yeah, it was just a lip sync with a kind of a moving camera. I don't remember the director. I can look it up.
Because that is a fun video, as you said. It's just kind of, wow, these people are really not only entertainers, but they're entertaining themselves at the same time, and it's coming across.
Yeah, I remember they asked me to sort of do the handheld mic thing, and I'd never really done that. I was always like a folky guitar player, and so it was a little awkward for me because I hadn't really ever just done that with a handheld mic. I felt like I was Wayne Newton or something. Uh,
Well, it was so remarkable with Live. Have you ever thought of putting together maybe a touring act of two or three or four different people of your caliber?
yeah, I think that would be great. I think that the problem is coordinating. It's always so hard because everybody's got their touring schedules booked out a year in advance, and coordinating two people is hard enough. Coordinating four would really be a challenge. I know there's people that do it like a winter's night. Sometimes the holiday ones are easier to do that with because you can kind of section off a chunk of time, like in, early December and do those. But to put together something with four acts that's really going out all year, it's complicated.
Back in the 60s, George Greif had, he used to manage Jose Feliciano, but he had the New Christie Minstrels, and he put them out one set on the East Coast and one set on the West Coast. So you had Kim Carnes and John Denver and Kenny Rogers and all these great people in this amazing band.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, it takes a lot of coordination, but it would be fun to do that. And the problem is getting enough money for everybody because then you have to ask such high ticket prices to really kind of pay everybody. That's part of the problem. There's so much logistics that go into stuff like that. And with older people touring too, they have a lot of needs. So,
Now, coming to Massachusetts in the summer, I mean, you're going to really nice places, Falmouth, Portsmouth, and Arlington. Do you take a little time for yourself and check out the communities?
we never have time to do that because we fly in the night before the first show, and then the next day we're sound checking by 3, and then we're playing a show, and then the next day we drive to the next place, and so on. And so, I mean, unless you really plan to stay on somewhere or come early, but we all have so much going on at home that sometimes it's hard to do that. So we don't get to, unfortunately. No. I mean, I could. I have so much else going on that I don't have a lot of time to do that.
Well, Rhode Island has so much. It's atmospheric. It's this really nice ocean community as well. And in fact, that whole coast going up from Rhode Island to Massachusetts to Maine is just so lovely. I wish you could experience it.
I have spent time in Maine and all the way up there in that national park, and that's pretty incredible.
And they have some wonderful nightclubs up there too, especially for the summer. Well, Karla, I know you're playing at the Regent Theater in Arlington. And the great thing about the Regent is there's actually a bus line that goes right to the theater. The final stop is at the theater, which is kind of cool.
Oh,
Yeah, that's where I live. That's where I grew up. So I know the place so well. There's like a big parking lot behind Arlington High School. And then there is the bus line. So a lot of people can come in from different areas to see you. And it's August 23rd, coming up very soon. Do you know what night that is? Friday or Saturday?
let's see here. I'm gonna check it out. I'm going to the website right now. I think it'll come up. It's a Friday night.
Friday, that's great in Arlington at the Regent. And one final question. Chad Stewart, you worked with Chad. What was that like?
Oh, it's so long ago. It was 1970, so I don't remember a lot about it because we were just kids and we were pretty stressed trying to make our first album. But he was a very sweet guy and really talented, and he was a big fan of ours and really helped us get that deal initially. So I didn't really have a lot of interaction with him after that and over the years. So that's a long time ago.
But I did hear him on JIB the other day, the same station that will be playing Karla Bonoff, I'm sure. Karla, you're so wonderful, and I just appreciate the time you give me here.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for talking with me.
Yeah, you're always a delight, and you're always welcome on the show.
Thank you so much. You take care. Bye.